Headley rebooted. When I was a kid, I was told never to be out on the North Service Road at midnight on Saturday night. And when I asked why, they just said, Headley. And when I asked them who Headley was, they told me to shut up and mind my own business. Mouthy little kid, just shut up. But did I listen to them? Nope. Now, when I was 16, a long time ago, last century, heck, last millennium, I bought my first car, an olive green 66 Rambler. It was a small car for those days. In other words, it was twice the size of a modern car and could carry around 23 people. And I loved it dearly. But I spent all my money on the car. Spent all my money buying the car and didn't have any left over for fuel. So I was always running out of gas. And that's what happened that Saturday night. I'd been cruising around alone, trying to connect with my friends, and not finding them. I finally decided they must be at the McDonald's down on Lakeshore, and as I didn't have enough fuel to get me there, I headed for the nearest gas station, the Esso on the North Service Road. I didn't make it. The Rambler came to a gentle but abrupt stop about a mile from the Esso station. Well, there was nothing for it but to pull the old gas can out of the trunk and hoof it. It wouldn't be the first time. So I set out down the North Service Road, but I hadn't gone very far when I noticed something weird. There wasn't any sound. Now, the North Service Road runs, north of the Queen Elizabeth Highway, which heads into Toronto and is one of the busiest highways in North America. There's always traffic on the Queenie, night and day. But now, nothing. Well, not exactly nothing. The odd vehicle would float by, but they all seemed to be black and didn't make much noise, or any noise, as they bobbled along. Weird. Still, I had gas to get, noise or no, so I headed on down the service road. The only sound the slap of my sneakers on the asphalt. Until, off in the distance, I heard the revving of a motorcycle. I looked at the luminous hands of my watch. Midnight on Saturday night. Headley? No, it couldn't be. Now, Headley had been a real guy, a mean, ugly dude with a Fu Manchu mustache and a German army helmet. He was cruel and obnoxious, guilty of harassing women and beating up weaker guys, and was both feared and hated. His mere presence could empty a crowded bar. Well, every Saturday night at midnight, he would race his Harley-Davidson chopper, complete with red headlight, up and down the North Service Road at speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour. But one Saturday, person or persons unknown had strung piano wire across the road, and Headley was decapitated. They say the chopper continued for another mile before crashing into the Esso station, while Headley's head rolled into the ditch at exactly midnight. No one was ever arrested or charged with the murder. I don't think anybody really wanted to find out who'd done it. But ever since, Headley and his chopper was said to haunt the North Service Road Saturday night, midnight, like right now. The sound of the approaching bike was now much louder, and I saw with a start, off in the distance, a red headlight. No, it couldn't be. I used the end of my thumb to cover the approaching red light to see if I could get a better glimpse of the bike and its rider. And he was headless. Headley! I threw my gas can into the ditch and started running, but I hadn't gone very far when I realized how stupid I was acting. Here was a chopper bearing down on me, and I was running in a straight line down the middle of the road, when there were empty fields to the north of me, empty fields where I would be out of the way. All I had to do was hop the barbed wire fence, but I hit a snag. Actually, my jeans caught a snag, which pulled my pants and underwear down, so I wound up sprawling face down and bare-assed. I was frantically pulling my pants up as the chopper arrived, and in one fluid motion, the headless rider pivoted and pulled a massive wheelie, which carried the bike over the barbed wire. I saw his front wheel coming down on me, down to crush me. And then everything exploded in a crimson fireball, and I passed out. I don't know how long I was out for, but when I woke up, Headley and his spectral chopper were gone. Had it just been a dream? A hallucination? Had I simply freaked myself up? I readjusted my wardrobe, got over the barbed wire without a snag, walked back and got my gas can, and began the long trudge to the gas station. But the highway was still strangely deserted, and everything was eerily silent, the only sound being the slap of my sneakers on the asphalt. Until our story continues. Headley 2.0. The story continues. I didn't know how long I'd been out, but when I woke up, Headley the Headless Biker and his spectral chopper were gone. Had it all just been a dream? A hallucination? Whatever it was, my Rambler was still out of fuel, so there was nothing for it but to walk back, get my gas can, and begin the long trudge to the Esso station. But the highway, the Queen Elizabeth, was still strangely deserted, and everything was still eerily silent, the only sound being the slap of my sneakers on the asphalt. Until until I once again heard the sound of an approaching motorcycle. Headley? Headley? I could see his chopper's red headlight off in the distance, but I knew he would be on me fast. Still, I was less than half a mile from the Esso station, so I decided to make a run for it. Alas, I quickly discovered that I wasn't in the best of shape. Too much McDonald's, too much A&W root beer, too many ketchup chips and cool cigarettes. So I found I was soon winded. I told myself, I'm going to get back into shape if I get out of this alive. If, which was a big if. The chopper was gaining on me, but I could now see the lights of the Esso, so I threw away my gas can. Again, it was slowing me down, and I tried to put on more speed, and as I ran, I panted and prayed. Please, God, please help me, God. Please help me to get to Esso. God, please help me, Esso. Please, I promise to be good, Esso. Esso, I'll sin no more. Esso, please, Esso. In other words, I didn't know what the hell I was saying. Yet somebody heard me, whether God or Esso, 'cause I made it staggering onto the brightly lit tarmac of the gas station. I figured I was safe in the light, and I was right, as the chopper had vanished, but Headley's decapitated head bobbed and weaved like a night floater in the shadows at the very fringe of the illumination. And that's when I made another big mistake. I got cocky. I began taunting Headley. What's the matter, Headley? Scared of the light, eh? I dare you to come and get me. Come on, come and get me. Come and get me. What are you, afraid? I dare you. I dare you. Scaredy cat. You big, ugly head. You. In short, and not for the first time in my life, I was playing the ass. Now, when I was a kid in grade school, I read in a library book, The Thing at the Foot of the Bed by Maria Leach, that if you asked a ghost a question, they had to answer truthfully. So I thought I would question Headley. Something insightful, like, what do you want? So I walked to the very edge of the light, where I could see his head, Headley, floating in the shadows, and I said, what do you want? It was my first real good look at Headley, and for the first time, I realized how butt ugly he was. Butt ugly. And he had acne on top of everything else. He was wearing smoked motorcycle goggles, and I found myself staring at them intently. And then, suddenly, they were no longer smoked, no longer dark, but red, glowing red orbs that turned into a red and white hypnotic spiral, and I found myself staring at it deeply. I couldn't turn my head away. Headley's head and his hypnotic eyes began to float away backward, back into the darkness, back up the service road, and I followed. I was compelled to follow. Headley's noggin floated back gently at first, but then it began to pick up speed. I staggered after it, but then it began moving so fast I was compelled to break into a run, and soon I was running full tilt after those eyes, trying to dive into those eyes, wanting to become one with those eyes, drawn to them like a moth to a flame. I found myself gasping for air, my chest heaving, the sweat pouring into my eyes, and I was running, and then the head fell into the ditch, and I fell in after it, and everything went black. It was just starting to get light when I woke up, lying at the bottom of the wet ditch. A powder blue Volkswagen Beetle was idling on the road. I recognized it. It was my buddy Peter's ride. He was standing over me, looking very concerned. "Are you okay?" he said. It seems that when I wasn't home by 3 a.m., my folks called all my friends, who began searching for me. They found my car, but of me there was no sign at all, till Peter spotted me lying in the ditch by a "speed limit 50" sign. "Where's Headley?" I croaked. "Headley? You saw Headley?" Peter said in surprise. I don't know if he believed me or not, but he listened to my story, and when I had finished he muttered, "Well, that figures." "What?" "Do you know where you are?" The North Service Road?" I said in confusion. "This is where Headley got his head cut off. They strung the piano wire from the barbed wire fence over there across the road to that speed limit sign there. It sliced his head clean off, and the head rolled right into the ditch, right where you are now." I never drove on the North Service Road ever again, and as long as I owned the Rambler, there was always a full can of gas in the trunk. The moral of the story? Not everything they tell you when you're a little kid is BS. And here's another that I just made up. Ghostly encounters are scary, but nothing to lose your head over.